So, guys, the WNBA have been talking about their most viral moments of the years. Obviously, number five most viral moment was I don't remember this happening. The number six most viral moment was I don't remember. Sorry, Jesus, I don't remember this happening. Um, I actually mean this when I say this. I covered this league for a living. I don't remember this happening. The only viral Kelsey Plum thing was when she too small Danger Reese and the Centel post about
She was stuck on one leg, hardly moving. Still, what unfolded next versus Paige Bueckers was more than a game. It turned into a complete destruction. Fans are still stunned by the clips that the WNBA surprisingly shared despite their usual direction. This was not simply a victory. It became a clear declaration of control that destroyed every assumption about the league's supposed golden star. The argument over who truly sits at the top ended right there on that floor, with one player completely flipping the script. The showing left audiences frozen. A historic message was carved into memory. That day
was Stud Buds. To be fair, the Stud Buds at All-Star Weekend is absolutely belongs high. But I'm actually shocked that, first of all, this was higher. This was more important. But the WNBA actually posted this when Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers matched up. This was an absolute... Like, this was a game where if you wanted to argue that Paige Bueckers was better than Caitlin Clark, you just couldn't anymore. This was like Caitlin was on one leg and she was taking the piss. She stole the ball 4 times off Paige. She blocked JJ Quinterly.
Picture a player, clearly limited yet still taking the ball away 4 times from her direct matchup, the so-called rival prodigy. Caitlin Clark was not just competing. She was breaking things down. Paige Bueckers was repeatedly caught off guard. Every move she made was anticipated before it happened. This was not only about points. It became a clinic in defensive intensity and elite basketball awareness that shocked experts and left opponents lost. The leaked, or rather, unexpectedly released footage exposes a level of command and calculated play rarely seen before. A true example of dominance that seemed unreal, sending waves through fans who expected a far tighter battle.
You just couldn't anymore. This was like Caitlin was on one leg and she was taking the piss. She stole the ball 4 times off Paige. She blocked JJ Quinterly, screamed in her face, grabbed the ball and just looked up and launched a full court pass, inch perfect, to Sophie Cunningham. She, in fairness, Paige Bueckers caught her in the air and she went down, looking like she'd hurt herself on that one. Caitlin, stats wise, she had 13 assists in like 20 something minutes. She played 10 minutes less than Paige, so 13 assists. Paige Bueckers was the absolute, she was, as we call her a time.
The clips tell the truth. Clark rejected JJ Quinterly, then screamed in her face with a fire almost never seen then. Instantly secured the ball and fired a full court pass straight to Sophie Cunningham. This was bigger than one sequence. It was a declaration of authority, a show of total ownership of the floor. The emotion, the skill, and the vision all collided in one unforgettable moment. It captured the entire night, proving that even hurt Clark was playing at a level far above everyone else, leaving people questioning how it was even possible in that condition.
13 assists in like 20 something minutes. She played 10 minutes less than Paige, so 13 assists. Paige Bueckers was the absolute, she was, as we call her at times last season, she was the garbage time demon. She was the demon of garbage time last year. When it was a blowout, Paige Bueckers started cooking. When it was game over, Paige Bueckers started cooking at the end of that game to get her 20 something points. But it was like by the time Caitlin Clark had checked out of the game, Caitlin Clark had more points. I'm pretty sure it was more points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and less turnovers. Like, it was genuinely crazy. It was crazy. It was.
Even after appearing to tweak something when Paige Bueckers hit her midair. Clark never lost focus. She produced 13 assists in about 20 minutes while playing nearly 10 minutes fewer than Paige. This was never an even matchup. It was a lesson in maximum efficiency. The stats tell the story, showing a player who squeezed value out of every moment on the court, turning each possession into something meaningful while her counterpart lagged behind. The difference in influence, despite the limited minutes, is shocking, highlighting her rare ability and relentless motor.
Real rivalry WNBA CC versus Caitlin. Caitlin had Paige in hell that game, read her like a book. The real rivalry, Paige greater than Angel, without the weird underlying animosity between players. I'm just putting it out there. I think Paige is more talented than Angel Reese. I think Angel was better. Angel has been better as a WNBA player. I think Angel as a rookie was better than Paige as a rookie. I think Angel literally dragged the Chicago Sky to multiple wins as a rookie. I think the Vegas win, she literally got 2 putbacks to win that game, even though she was terrible up to that point. The New York Liberty win, Angel willed them to the win. There were a couple of games where Angel...
Paige Bueckers, by contrast, picked up the unfortunate label garbage time demon. Last season, she tended to heat up only once games were already out of reach or nearly finished, collecting points after results were settled. This matchup followed the same pattern. While Paige eventually reached 20-plus points, much of it came after Caitlin Clark had already exited with the contest decided. That separation defines the real story of the game, revealing who truly shaped the result when it mattered. The footage clearly shows the gap in competitive impact.
Certainly a memorable game. Coming in at number 7, it was a lot higher. To be fair, if it was number 7, show the highlights. Paige is so much better based on what? If you were talking about this game, I just remember like how the game was summarized in one photo. Yeah. How the game summarized in one photo. That was basically it. The rivalry the league wants. They have grown, bless their hearts. Aaliyah Boston, AZ Foot, 4 steals and 13 assists on one leg. Like, she stripped Paige 4 times. And that was the funniest thing, is everyone's talking about turnovers. I'm like, Paige had more turnovers than Caitlin that game. Because
the stats from that iconic meeting paint an even harsher picture. Clark finished with more points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, while also turning the ball over less than Paige Bueckers. It was a complete statistical sweep, domination across every measurable category. For anyone trying to claim Paige outplayed Caitlin this game, erase that argument entirely. The raw numbers leave zero space for debate. It was a performance that locked in one player superiority, beyond question, permanently reshaping the storyline.
20 times better than me, face the league. I don't think Paige Bueckers thinks that. And by the way, one thing I like is that you're starting to see Paige become Paige again, by the way. Like, if you saw this, for lack of a better word, like the swag and freedom that Paige played with in high school, and then that was kind of gone out of her at UConn. And like, I think we're seeing a little bit more Paige. We're seeing a little bit more her being Paige. And if Paige is Paige, and Paige fixes the mentality issues that she's had over the last 2 years, where, and I don't mean these in mentality issues. Mentality issues is in like the mentality of, oh, I'm just going to, I just want to fit in and not.
What makes the footage even more surprising is that the WNBA itself released it, given their perceived stance toward Caitlin Clark and their effort to elevate Paige Bueckers as the league centerpiece. This was shocking. It feels like the showing was so obvious, so overwhelming that it could not be ignored, even though it did not fit their usual messaging. This rare moment of acknowledgement adds intrigue, proving that Clark impact was strong enough to cut through bias and demand attention, regardless.
So what's going to happen? But I'm still shocked. I'm actually considering what the WNBA have been doing, considering their mentality towards Caitlin Clark as a league, and them really wanting to push Paige Bueckers to the face, even though Paige Bueckers, nobody watches Paige Bueckers play basketball. And that's just the unfortunate thing, is that in fairness to Paige Bueckers has an unbelievable social media following. She actually does. She's an unbelievable social media following. The TikTok people love making their edits of Paige Bueckers because they have these weird parasocial relationships with her and AZ Fudd. They're like K-pop stans, but they don't actually watch basketball. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you.
The matchup was ultimately summed up by a single image. A snapshot of Clark complete control. That photo spread everywhere, speaking volumes without a word, perfectly capturing the rivalry and the clear winner of that day. It became iconic, instantly recognizable to anyone who watched, locking in the story of dominance in a way language could not. That image still carries weight, reminding fans of the day one superstar firmly claimed her throne. Caitlin Clark was not even focused on scoring that night. She played on cruise mode, locked in on passing and defense. That fact lifts the performance from impressive to legendary, showing a player so composed she could dominate without chasing points. It reflects her elite basketball mind and her ability to control games in countless ways. Winning so decisively while seemingly holding back proves how special her talent is, leaving fans amazed. The mental contrast was clear. Paige Bueckers in that game and, at times in her career, has struggled with what some describe as mentality issues. Not mental health, but a habit of trying to blend in rather than demand the ball and lead. That hesitation often led to deferring even when she was the best option, dulling her natural edge. The footage subtly highlights this gap, showing a player restrained internally compared to Clark's forceful command. Remember the confidence and freedom Paige had in high school? That fearless style faded during her time at UConn. This game against Clark exposed that shift where instinct was muted. Though we are beginning to see flashes of the old Paige again, this matchup served as a reminder of what happens when that edge is missing. It revealed a clear split in their on-court identities. One bold and unleashed, the other cautious. The debate between Angel Rhee and Paige Bueckers also becomes relevant here. Paige is gifted, no doubt, but Angel Rhee has repeatedly shown a stronger ability to drag her team to wins. As a rookie, she carried the Chicago Sky through tough moments, making key plays late, showing a killer instinct Paige sometimes lacks. This comparison, while separate from the Clark Bueckers clash, reinforces what separates elite competitors, those who rise when it matters. Angel Rhee's rookie season included clutch putbacks against Vegas and a win over New York even when her overall game was uneven. That ability to impact winning regardless of form shows her fierce mindset. Paige, meanwhile, often pushed games close but struggled to finish. Clark dominance over Bueckers therefore stands as a clear example of the mindset that defines legends. The historical context makes it even wilder. UConn was reportedly 3-0 versus Iowa, and Caitlin Clark before that night. This was not just another loss. It ended a meaningful unbeaten run, adding weight to Clark effort. Iowa had beaten UConn only once before, and one of those times Paige did not even play, making Clark showing even more remarkable. It marked a turning point that flipped years of history, proving one player determination could dismantle established dominance. The WNBA viral moments list for the year adds more intrigue. Moments like Candace Parker with Usher and Stub Buds at All Star Weekend were included, yet the fact the Clark Bueckers blowout ranked so high is revealing. It outranked many moments the league openly pushed, signaling the impact and shock of that game. That placement further emphasizes how powerful Clark performance was, forcing recognition regardless of narrative. The real rivalry may not just be Clark versus Bueckers, but the league versus a rising star. While certain stories are preferred, undeniable play can disrupt everything. That tension between on-court truth and commercial goals became clear here. The Clark Bueckers game was a flashpoint exposing that conflict. Paige Bueckers' massive social media presence also plays into this. Her TikTok edits, often driven by parasocial appeal, draw huge numbers from fans who may not even watch games. That gap between online fame and actual impact matters. Clark. Viral domination reminded everyone that popularity does not equal superiority. Despite efforts to market Paige as the face, reality shows fewer people tune in to watch her games compared to others. Her digital numbers soar, but viewership tells another story. That makes the WNBA decision to post Clark highlights even more surprising and unspoken. Admission that dominance wins attention. Paige will certainly outplay Clark many times in the future. Angel Re has done it is have players like Ryan Howard and Kate Martin. Basketball evolves and matchups matter. But what made this footage so powerful is that it captured a moment where one player delivered a career-defining takeover despite injury and circumstances. This was not just a game. It was a revelation. A night where hierarchies collapsed and one performance became impossible to deny. The footage reminds us that true dominance, raw skill, and relentless will always rise above noise, leaving fans stunned. Debates ended, and history forever marked